Hello viewers, welcome to our lecture series on Indian ethos in management, and in today's lecture of mine I am going to tell you about the Indian model of management, specifically how it is relevant in business setup of Indian corporate enterprises, what is the law of karma, what you call as a law of doing work ethically and properly. So I just thought it pertinent to have a discussion on the Indian model of management, and with that in our mind, we have planned a lecture in such a way that we will talk about corporate Gita. Nowadays, we have a new term called the Bhagavad Gita from the perspective of corporate entities, which is known as corporate Gita. What are the different perspectives of that? The same text is there, but it is being perceived by different segments of the society, different segments of the universe from their own perspective. What are the lessons for management, administration and leadership? And eventually we will talk about the theory of society, where we are leading towards a new vision of sacro-civic society, where we are willing to establish a society which is sacro-civic in its nature, which is there to restore the sacro-civic nature of society. And with that as the agenda of my lecture today, I am going to tell you about what exactly we mean by the term corporate Gita. The moment this word comes to us, we actually start considering it to be a part of spiritual discourse or spiritual lecturing. No, it is not at all. In any manner, we are going to tell you about the way those principles which are being explained in Bhagavad Gita, they are relevant for the corporate entities, and they are increasingly adopting. Why we are discussing it? Because corporate entities, they have started adopting it, they have started practicing those principles, those rules, those guidelines in their day-to-day activities of management and administration. And when it comes to leadership, we find no other leader so powerful than Lord Krishna, where we see the kind of leadership, the kind of strategy he formulated, he has presented. So Gita provides us an insight into a theory of self-development, which is very much useful for holistic living and social improvement. When we talk about the living which is holistic in nature, or when we talk about the social improvement, we find a text which is giving us an insight into theory of self development. And during the recent years, if we look at the relevant literature on the subject, during recent years, the relevance and importance of Gita in social and corporate context, it has received immense attention of management gurus, management scholars, management teachers, the practitioners, and of course the social scientists. So when we are digging the relevant literature, we are finding that people are increasingly moving towards the relevance and importance of a text which is available to us, and in what manner we can make good use of it in our day-to-day affairs of the business enterprise. So that is why it is now named as it has now named as corporate Gita. We are considering that text from the perspective of the corporate entities. So I'll be telling you from this dimension, I'll be telling you the principles, the guidelines, the rules which are mentioned there, the way we can make good use of those guidelines into the day-to-day activities of our business enterprise, and ensure that there is no conflict, there is no stress. So with that as our agenda, I am going to tell you about the various concepts of the corporate Gita. The literature in this respect has been growing increasingly, and that is why we are finding it as a part of the course curriculum. Whenever we look at the course curriculum on Indian ethos in management or in Indian style of management, it can't be devoid of this aspect, it can't be devoid of corporate Gita. So renewed scholarly attention has also been facilitated because of the new realization for spirituality in society and of course at workplace. So this is leading us to a new appreciation of ancient texts in the corporate context. So in the corporate context, we are going to appreciate those principles, those guidelines, those rules which actually belong to the East, and they are increasingly used by the Western practitioners as well. they are also considering it to be one of the important text available, and it can be used by the management gurus, the management scientists, and of course the practitioners. So, its spirituality is not only relevant for stress management at individual level. Some people think that whatever is mentioned in Gita, its spirituality is only relevant for the stress management at the level of an individual or a person. But when we read it from the perspective of corporate entities, we find it to be very much significant for improving the psycho-spiritual environment at the workplace. If you are actually working on ensuring a conducive work environment or conducive environment at workplace, there is no other text available which is so rich as this corporate Gita is. So, we have to improve the psycho spiritual environment at the workplace, and for that this text is very much relevant, and the practitioners, they are appreciating it. It actually offers lessons for enlightened leadership and ethical management. And nowadays we talk about these two keywords. What is the leadership which is looking forward for enlightenment? Can we have a leadership which is enlightened, which can foresee the future of the organization, which can draft and craft the future of your organization? And for that we need a leadership which itself is enlightened, and we need to go for the ethical management, the management practices which are ethical in all aspect, ethical from all dimensions. So, let us now have a look at the different perspectives of the same text, that what are those different perspectives of the same text which is relevant for us. While if we look at the literature, if we look at the literature available in the field of management, we find that while Tilak, Aurobindo, Vivekananda and Gandhi demonstrated its importance and relevance in the social context during the freedom movement. If we dig the literature available in the social domain, we find that during the freedom movement of India, these top shots, these thinkers, they have actually demonstrated the importance and relevance of this text that is called Gita in the social context. But nowadays many management scholars and corporate managers, they are discovering its relevance in corporate context as well. So, the social dimension or the social context of it has already been explained and used by the top thinkers, by the top people who were actually very much active during the struggle of freedom movement of India. And now it is Bharat, and many management scholars, they are now looking at the text from the perspective of corporate context, that in what manner corporate can be benefited from those principles, those rules, those ideas which are very much there into that text. So, can we make good use of those guidelines, those rules, those ideas in order to ensure that the atmosphere of the business enterprise can also be made good and conducive? What can be done to ensure that there is no conflict? What can be done to ensure that there is no stress? What can be done to ensure that the subordinates, they have complete faith in the leadership, and they have no doubt while they are working for the attainment of the goals of business enterprise? And are we able to, as a leader, are we able to ensure that while achievement of the organizational goals, the individuals should rest assured that their goals will always be given due importance, or they have no doubt about that? Are we able to create, are we able to provide that kind of leadership? So, in order to answer those questions, the management scholars, they have started discovering the relevance of this text in corporate context. So, what is the lesson for management, administration and leadership? That is our perspective of that is our purpose and perspective of looking at this text, this literature available with us. So, there is an important distinction between efficiency in managing and effectiveness. At times we ask this question to our learners, to our students, that what is the difference between the efficiency and effectiveness? A person can be efficient but not effective, and vice versa. Can you think of a business process where your process is very much effective, but people are not efficient? And can we go ahead with any one of them? Can we ignore effectiveness, or can we say no to efficiency? Answer is of course no. Effectiveness is doing the right things. When we are doing right things, we can consider it to be the effectiveness, and efficiency is doing things right, the way you are performing. So both are important, because you know that how to that what is right and what is wrong. In that case, you are effective, but are you able to ensure that you are doing things in a right manner? So efficiency is very much required to ensure the effectiveness. And here comes the role of this very rich text, which is offering us the lessons for management, administration and leadership. So my dear learners, here I would like to reiterate that wherever we have to perform the any activity which is concerned with the management, which is concerned with the administration of some activities, or wherever we are looking forward to the leadership, the relevant of this text is very much there, and we can't deny to the relevant and significance of this text. So we should not call it only the corporate Gita. We should say that wherever we are going for managing something, we have to administrate something, or we are looking forward to ensure a leadership which is conducive, which is enlightened, which is having the capability of transforming the entire business process. Then of course this text is very much relevant. These guidelines, these ideas are very much relevant. So management needs those people who practice what they preach. If your preaching is different than what you practice, then of course your management cannot be effective. You can't ensure the effective management unless you practice what you preach. So whatever a great person does is followed by others. People go by the standards set up by others, and this is there in the chapter 3, shloka 21 of Bhagavad Gita, which says that whatever a great person does is followed by others, and people go by standards set up by others. It is the normal practice. So whatever the excellent and best ones do, the commoners follow. And we all know that that while offering a leadership, you have to become the follower first. Unless you are a good follower, you can't be an effective leader. So if you really wish to be a leader to whom others follow, you need to become a follower first, and you need to understand that greatness of a person is dependent, completely dependent on what a person does. So if you feel that you are offering a leadership to a business enterprise, or to any of the organization wherever you are working, wherever you are operating, or even if you take the family as a unit, if you really wish to offer a leadership, whatever you do, your actions need to be emulated, or it should have the capability, it should have that ability of being emulated. So people will follow, people will adopt only when they find it to be the best. So you have to actually do whatever is the best. You have to set the best examples, and it cannot be done by preaching only. You have to practice also. If you are saying that we need to be committed towards the attainment of goals of the business enterprise, you should also have the same feeling what you are expecting from your subordinates. Now here comes the point for which we are having this as a topic into our course curriculum. What is the contribution of Indian management? Indian management as a distinctive branch of study, it has come into focus during recent years. And if we look that the literature, if you look at the relevant literature, it is growing by leaps and bounds nowadays. The 4 areas of management theory and practice, where ideas from Indian management in general and Bhagavad Gita in particular, it has found corporate applications both in West and in the East, and that need to be discussed here. So those 4 areas of management theory and practice, where we are finding the Indian management ideas to be very effective. And of course, when we talk about the Indian management, as I told you at the very outset, whenever we discuss about the Indian model of management, we can't ignore the texts of Gita. we can't ignore, because Indian management is significantly influenced by the text of Gita, which is available with us. So, the four areas of management theory and practice that I am going to tell you, the first and the foremost area where the Indian model of management is increasingly proven to be an effective methodology of managing is the stress management. Whenever it comes to managing the stress or stress management as a subject, Indian model management is having an upper hand, and people are increasingly accepting that yes, stress management is the area where the Indian model of management is very much effective. It also talks about the second dimension that is called psycho-spiritual improvement in work environment. How can we contribute to the improvement in the work environment from the perspective of psycho-spirituality? So, are we able to ensure that I am going to offer a workplace where my employees are finding the entire atmosphere to be very conducive, and it is conducive in such a way that you are able to discuss, you are able to describe your problems with your colleagues and with your superiors. So, where you have a proper communication in the business enterprise or in your organization. Suppose if we take example of a university itself, where the teachers, students and staff, they are working together to ensure the best of teaching learning environment. So, are we able to provide that kind of leadership where each of the stakeholder is finding the environment, work environment to be full of joy, and there is no place for stress? So, how to improve the psycho-spiritual improvement, how to improve the psycho-spiritual perspective of the work environment, that is something which is the second area of management theory and practice when we look at it from the perspective of corporate Gita. Then we have business ethics and human values, and eventually it is enlightened leadership. So, these are four areas of management theory and practice where this corporate Gita is contributing significantly. It has contributed significantly, to correct myself, I would say. So, we need to understand, my dear learners, that in what manner these four areas of management are being influenced, being supported, being strengthened by the corporate Gita. So, what is in it? What is there into it? Inside this text, we have lessons for management, administration and leadership issues in social and corporate context, and it is regarded as the perennial philosophy with universal appeal. Even the Western philosopher, Western thinkers and management gurus, they are considering it as a perennial philosophy with universal appeal. They are finding it to be very much appealing. And this I am not saying from my own side. I could find this as a quotation in one of the researches, where to quote unquote the researcher Chakrabarti et al. I quote, it is a sacro-secular text for the entire humanity and does not belong to Indian alone, unquote. So, here it says that if we are considering it to be ours only, we feel that it belongs to Bharat only. The researchers are increasingly, even Western thinkers are increasingly considering it to be one of the important literature available, one of the important text available for the entire humanity, and it does not belong to one country only. It is boundaryless. It has no boundaries. So, the ideas are so relevant and so enriching that everybody is accepting it with open arms. So, that is something which we need to realize, which I could find in one of the researches as a quotation. It was quoted there. It offers many ideas of importance to individuals, society and organizations, irrespective of their mode of production, whether they are producing, whether it belongs to agriculture or it belongs to a manufacturing process, or it belongs to a technical process of software development, or it belongs to the production of chemical. So, regardless of the mode of production or nature of technology and structure of organization, these ideas are very much relevant. So, and that is why we are discussing. Now, the second question comes, why is it so powerful? Why it is having this much of significance? This question comes to us. It is because this entire text of corporate Gita deals with exploration of the self. Unless we understand ourselves, how can we manage? How can we offer the best of work environment at workplace? And it offers us an understanding about the self development. And since it is offering us the idea of how to explore ourselves and how to understand the self development, it deals with modes of thinking and modes of action rather than modes of production. Other models, they talk about modes of production, the way you produce. But here this entire text deals with the modes of thinking, because it is the human being who is on work, who is on duty. It is the human being who is going to activate all other sources of productions. If we take 5 M's, men, money, material, machine and method, it is only the human resource which is going to activate all other resources, all 4 M's. So here the modes of action and modes of thinking, they are more important than modes of production. And earlier what we were doing, we were only talking about the modes of production, that you have to work on a machine. But who is operating that machine? That is being operated by a human being. And since here we are talking about the exploration of the self and understanding the self development, then of course it is going to contribute significantly even to the modes of production, because the person who is working on machine is dealing with, is having a brain, is having a heart. So it is a game of mind and heart also. So we have to understand that the way a person thinks, the way a person acts, so modes of thinking and action, they are more significant, and it is the only text which is giving us an idea of looking at the management principles from this perspective, and that is why it is very much powerful. And if you ask me, I would say it teaches us that how to walk our talk. According to it, the mansa vacha karmana, man, vachan and karma. Whatever I think, whatever I speak and what I do. So there has to be synergy among the thought, words and deeds, and thereby modes of thinking and action which are common to all events. So mansa vacha karmana, which means we are talking about our thinking, our words, what we speak and what we do. There has to be a synergy into all three. They all should be one. What I think, what I say and what I do, if they are all three are different, then I cannot achieve my goals. Forget about attainment of goals of business organization. I would actually end up like a person who is a completely confused personality. So the idea of the mansa vacha karmana, it indicates the thought and action connection, and is also expressed by the presently popular phrase in the management literature which says walk and talk, walk the talk. So walk the talk is basically a representation of what we say as mansa vacha karmana. So our thoughts, words and actions, they are supposed to be the same if we really wish to achieve the goal of business enterprise or whatever goals we have set for ourselves. So in this corporate Gita, the focus is on decision maker's mental state during the moments of decision making. What was the mental state of the person when he or she took that decision? And this can be contrasted with the traditional literature on management, which focuses more on decision making rather than on the mental state of decision maker only. So in this way, my dear learners, I tried to provide you a brief idea about the corporate Gita and its applicability in management, administration and leadership. The next part of this topic I shall be discussing with you in the next lecture of mine. I hope you must have enjoyed today's lecture of mine. Thank you so much.